Telltale guys, giant spiders.
What's your ETA? We'll be there in 2 minutes. Come on, we have lives to save here.
Yes.
Hey everyone, how's it going? It is Telltale guys. We are back at it. We are a little bit of break. We are exiting the holidays and into the new year. We hope all of you had great holidays, however you celebrate. You were had a good new year. You were safe. You had fun. Josh, did you do anything over the holidays? What was your dealio?
I just kind of kicked back and relaxed as much as one can relax during the holidays. Celebrated, with a little bit. My favorite holiday partakance is I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up. My favorite holiday food would be sausage balls. Have you ever had those?
Like are the ones that you like dip in that kind of like really sweet, almost barbecue sauce?
No, that's I guess you could do that, but maybe those are more like meatballs. But sausage
Okay.
balls, and by the time the listeners hear this, is probably going to be closer to springtime. But you can eat these anytime. It's basically Bisquick, Jimmy Dean hot sausage, and cheese. And
Oh yes. Okay.
yes, 3 ingredients, very simple. I mean, you can get swanky with it. I like to get a little bit experimental with it sometimes. Like usually around Thanksgiving, I'll do like the basic one, and then I'll try to do one a little bit swankier with like adding some like dried fruits into it and different cheeses and whatnot. Do you have a favorite holiday food?
I mean, kind of what I mentioned when I mistook your sausage balls. I do kind of like the little meatballs that are dipped in like that kind of really sweet sauces, like a mix of, I don't know, like all the sauces combined. Let's see here. I mean, I do like a good like heavy mac and cheese during the seasonal dinners and all that. But also like my wife has made, they're difficult to make, but they are delicious, and we'll make them sometimes for the holidays. They're like bacon twists, like they're bacon wrapped in like a little puff pastry type thing.
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
That is delicious, but my wife is just like it's really hard to make, so she doesn't do it too often.
Maybe have her switch over to sausage balls. They're easier to make,
Okay.
and only 3 ingredients, simple. But,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Did you get any cool items for the holidays, for the gifts, Christmas?
No, it was kind of like I mean, I got some nice nifty shoes, but I have to return them because they're a little big, but they're nice, like green walking shoes. So I'm happy about those. But we gave a lot of gifts to the youngins this Christmas. I got one, which I'm probably more excited about. My oldest daughter is into dinosaurs right now.
Okay,
I got her. Yeah. She also, at her school, it's kind of an outdoor school. They learned how to dissect owl pellets. And so she got really into that.
Gross.
And so I bought her, I know I'm kind of gross, but cool. I bought her a dinosaur themed like operation type game.
Okay.
She can, pick out the little bones or whatever the dinosaur has eaten.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, this is like 3 years and older. These objects are a little small that you got to pick out. So it takes some parental supervision. But of course, I'm going to be supervising because I'm playing at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds fun. I got something cool too. I meant to put it in the background. Let me go get that and show you. I want to pause it real quick, but I'll come back with an unpaused. Okay, I'm back and I resumed. It's in the dark, so it's a little hard to see it here. Let's see if I can get it.
Can I put you in focus here? Let's see. All right. What is that?
That's kind of hard to
pop a cat. Is it?
Yeah,
like a little trophy thing, like a YouTube type thing.
Okay, no, it's I'm gonna have to unplug it and turn the light on.
Oh, podcast recording. I see now.
Hold on. This will be easier for you to see. It's hard to pick up on the camera.
Oh, cool. It's got our logo. Podcast recording. I like it.
Yeah, so it's a little glow box. You plug it in, it lights up, and it says you're recording. It's my brother-in-law is into 3D printing, and he made it. So it was really cool.
Okay, nice. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
good. Yeah, to
I,
have that on. So your wife, when she comes in, she's like, I gotta leave. So
she won't acknowledge it anymore. She'll just do what she wants.
no, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, but it's really cool. That was a really thoughtful gift. I love it. So I'm gonna have to get it lit better so we can see it when it's on camera. But I'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what are we actually doing today? Is not talking about the holidays because it's not the holidays anymore for you listeners. What we're talking about today is spiders, particularly giant spiders.
All right.
Zane, do you like spiders?
I think they're cool to look at. I can watch a neat documentary on them, but not necessarily. I don't really want to touch them. I will like if I find one, maybe a small one, and if my wife doesn't know about them, like I'll in the house, I'll let them go because they're doing good work. But
Yes.
yeah, so I kind of let them be. We have some really good during the fall. Those really gnarly looking spiders. I think they're from Japan. They're like black and yellow
The Joro spiders.
Doro spiders.
Yes,
Um,
those are a hassle here.
we'll get a few around my yard, and they are gnarly looking, but they're really cool. So I don't want to touch them. I don't want to be bit by them. That's for sure. But I think they're really cool little beings.
I'm in the same boat as you, Zane. I'm a fan of spiders. They creep me out. I don't kill them if I see them in the house. I leave them alone, or I'll put them outside the house. Usually, where I live, I get the cellar spiders. They're the ones that kind of have lankier legs, and they stay up in like the corners of your house and stuff like
Mm.
that. They're really spindly. I
Mhm.
kind of just leave those alone because they'll eat like bugs. There's some natural pest control. They eat
Yeah,
all the bad bugs and stuff. And then wolf spiders and stuff like those. Those I'll throw outside because they you don't get bit by them, but they still do great work.
yeah.
But it's they're kind of creepy. I think actually a little anecdote. My fear of spiders probably originated when I was a young kid. Um, uh, Before elementary school, kindergarten age. My dad used to like to pick up daddy long legs and throw them on me.
That's awful.
Yeah, it toughens you up, I guess.
It, isn't it true that like they're one of the most poisonous spiders, but their pincers are too
Mm,
tiny to break our skin?
yeah, I think that's just a wives' tale. They're not. I
Oh,
don't think they have much venom in them at all, even if they
okay.
could bite you. But technically, those aren't spiders. Those are harvestmen, and they're an arachnid related, but they're not technically spiders, I believe. But whatever. We'll count them as spiders. But did you know, Zane? There's more than 50,000 species of spiders.
I
It's
believe that. So
Yeah. But some estimates think that there may be 3 times more that number of species that aren't identified yet.
mhm.
So let's start sharing some of my slides here for people. If you're not listening to us
That
on
just
YouTube,
reminds me real quick, just like I've
yeah.
had this thought if like arachnid or if any type of bug, if the whole population of bugs on this planet just decided in one hive mind to attack us, it would be over fast and the most horrifying thing ever.
That's a
Anyway,
weird thought to have. I guess like maximum overdrive, but with insects, like the
yeah,
Stephen
like
King book about the vehicles coming to life.
oh, I never read that one. I do like King. I
Uh,
didn't that makes sense. He would have a book like that.
yeah, they made a movie about it too. You can check it. It's all right, but
That's
it's,
usually how his movies are when they're an adaptation of his books. But yeah, I've had that thought before, and especially as a kid, and it was always just like a terrifying scenario thought. Anyways,
well, let's terrify you some more and talk about the spiders a little bit more. So, 50,000 species, that's a lot of spiders, Zane, but there's only about 25 of them that are harmful to people. 25 species, that's it. You'd think there's lots of them, the way
yeah,
people are freaked out by spiders. But before maybe we get into everything, let's run down some of the most dangerous ones, shall we? Let's talk about this guy here, the brown recluse,
oh yeah,
also called the fiddlebacks because of the small violin. You can leave it big so people can see it better.
all right,
Um, you can see on the back there, it's got a little like violin looking thing on its back.
yeah,
And that's what they call fiddlebacks sometimes.
oh
But if you get bit by one of these, pretty nasty, although it is rare. But definitely, if you get it checked out ASAP, because their bites can become necrotic. Your flesh starts dying and stuff like that. This is a spider because we have them where we live in Georgia, but this one freaks me out the most because I can't identify them very well because I think everything is a brown recluse that looks like a brown spider, even though I don't think I've seen one in the house. But if you do, I mean, I guess they're kind of, they're reclusive, so they're not really aggressive and try to come at you, bro. But
it's good to know about like the violin
mm-hmm.
fiddle type thing. I never knew, and I've always heard about them too, especially where we live, but I haven't seen them the same as you.
Yeah, and luckily, hopefully, I don't keep seeing them. This guy here, we all know this one, the Black Widow, very, very famous, creepy crawly, I guess.
I had a close encounter with one of these guys real quick. I was a kid, probably around the same age as when your dad was really messing with you. But we were at like a visitor like stop on the highway, and I was really into climbing things at this time. And there's like a rock wall, and I was climbing it, and my face just kind of got level with this hole in the rock. And there was one right there, and I saw that red hourglass as plain as day right in front of my face, and I leapt off and ran away. And that was very scary, intense, and I'll never forget that.
Your dad didn't pick it up and throw it at you?
No, my dad is a nice person. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I thought that was normal. Everybody's fathers threw poisonous insects at them. He did it another time too, which I knew it was poisonous, and he threw it at me. It was a caterpillar, and it had those spikes on it. He threw it at me, hit me in the eye, and it swelled up. I was like, "Dad, don't throw that at me. It's poisonous." He's like, "No, it's not."
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it is a glimpse into my childhood, I suppose.
That sounds like therapy. Cool.
Anyways, if you get bit by one of these Black Widows and cause muscle spasms, abdominal cramps, and about 2,000 people are bit yearly by Black Widows, but deaths from these are rare. So, if you get bit, I wouldn't freak out too much. We still go to the hospital, but you'll probably be all right. Check out this guy. Now, this one I had on a GIF, but it's not playing in the slide here, I guess, because won't play that. But anyway, this thing is it's in sand, and it covers itself up in sand. Mm-hmm. And this is called a Sicarus spider. It's really creepy looking. I suggest looking them up if you can and see how they bury themselves, but they're pretty gross.
And they'll wait for bugs to walk by and just snatch them.
Yeah, pretty much. They're in sand. They like to kind of live in sandy areas and dry spots, so you don't have to worry about them too much here in the States, obviously. They're mostly found in South Africa and South America, and they're not too much of a risk for us here. But you remember a few years back, Zane, there's a big fuss about bananas and these big spiders that live on bananas. And people were getting like bit by them and stuff. Like this wasn't that spider, but this was the guy here that was hiding in the bananas. This is a Brazilian wandering spider. And
wandered right into our bananas.
Right into the bananas. So now this guy here, this is remember, we're talking about giant spiders in this episode. So this guy's leg span can get up to 7 inches across from foot to foot. And they can deliver a significant amount of venom and is up there as one of the most venomous spiders. Note that these bites are nasty, but thankfully, if you get medical attention soon enough, deaths again are rare. But I wouldn't recommend throwing your fists into bananas blindly and seeing if there's nothing. I think thankfully you don't really find them in the bananas much anymore because they've done a good screening on them or something. I don't know. I haven't heard about it in a couple of years. But let's talk about the deadliest spider. That's probably, as you can imagine, a spider that comes from Australia, because everything in Australia tries to kill you.
Oh my God. Oh, the funnel web, right?
Yes, this is the funnel web. Very well. Are you familiar with this particular spider, Zane?
Yeah. I've heard of him.
Okay.
I actually didn't realize he was the most poisonous spider. But he is gnarly looking.
It's up there with one of the most deadly. So this is he says the male Sydney funnel web spider can kill you in 15 minutes if you get bit by one. And the leg span of these are about 4 inches across. I mean, it's a pretty big honking spider there.
Mhm.
Deaths, of course, are rare like others. In fact, there hasn't been a recorded death since anti-venom was developed in 1981. So yay for that, science. But before 1981, you get bit by one of these things, you're probably going to die. But we aren't talking about these common puny spiders, these little 5-inch spiders. We want to talk about larger spiders and some mystery sightings of giant spiders. But first, let's see what we currently know as the largest spiders on the planet. Zane, these were just the most deadly ones. Let's talk about giant spiders. Here we go. This one is called a king baboon spider. That's an awesome name for a spider.
Yeah, and scary name too, because baboons are freaky.
Baboons F you up, man. They rip your face off and eat you.
Mhm.
And this spider might as well also, because this guy lives in East Africa, a member of the tarantula family. He's very tarantula looking. It has a leg span of almost 8 inches, and they're very aggressive. So if you come across one in East Africa, try not to pet it. It'll bite you. So that's that spider. But can I interest you in a face-sized tarantula, Zane?
Of course.
Yes, this spider is called the face-sized tarantula. Very aptly named.
Oh, nice.
Now, it was only first discovered in 2009 in Sri Lanka, and it can get a leg span of over 8 inches, so big enough to cover your face, obviously. And most large spiders are in the tarantula family, but this giant isn't a tarantula type of spider. It's in a different family.
Oh, okay.
This is kind of in a family of the giant or huntsman type of spiders, which brings me to this guy here, the giant huntsman spider from Laos. And it can get to 12 inches in leg span, Zane. That's a dinner plate. They like to live in caves, though. So don't go spelunking in Laos. You'll get attacked by one of these things. Disgusting.
This keeps reminding me of in Home Alone when Marv the robber gets the tarantula on his face. When you keep saying like face size, I'm like,
oh yeah,
I keep thinking about that scene.
And that was small. That was a small spider compared to this thing.
That was a regular pet tarantula. That thing was huge too.
Did you know anybody had pet spiders growing up?
My brother-in-law may have. He had a lot of different creepy crawlies for his pets, but not specifically.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew anyone particular. I think there was some some hot goth girl in school that had some as a pet, but I don't really remember specifics about that. But anyways, the award for the largest spider on the planet, just overall mass of spider, is this is just a close-up of it here. This is going to be the Goliath bird eater spider. Look at this thing, Zane. That's a man's forearm and a regular sized big spider. And that's the Goliath spider in a dinner plate. The thing is massive. So
where does it originate?
This is going to be South American jungles, down in let's see. I guess I don't have a particular country, but South America.
Yeah.
And so while the huntsman has a larger leg span, but the Goliath bird eater from the jungles of South America can get to 11 inches in leg span, so roughly about the same foot span there. But sometimes they can get a little bit larger. But the body length now is like 5 inches long, and this thing can weigh as much as 6 ounces. That's a good sized steak. Imagine a steak.
That's like the weight of this glass in this amount of water.
Yeah. Imagine one of those crawling on your face and biting you.
What I've heard too about like these type of spiders is a lot of them are very hairy, and like those like bristly hairs can cause like issues too, like skin issues, and that's like another freaky thing about them.
Yeah, there are some that will fire their hairs at you like little projectiles. And this is tarantula type here. The tarantulas are usually the hairier type of spiders. Now this particular one, the Goliath bird eater spider, it rarely eats birds, but if it catches one, it can eat it. But they tend to stay on the ground in burrows and eat things like large insects, worms, and amphibians. So your face is probably safe. Um, but I don't know. I guess people might keep these as pets. Tarantulas, I guess, sometimes can make good pets. But these are huge spiders, man, but are there even larger critters hiding out there in the depths of the jungles? And let's dive into some possible sightings of even more massive spiders.
Sounds great.
Yes, you got the heebie-jeebies yet?
A little bit, a little queasy in the stomach.
So this first spider we're going to talk about that is allegedly had sighting is the Jabba Fofi or Fafi. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but the Jabba Fofi, we'll go with that. This giant spider is a reported arachnid from the jungles of Cameroon and the Congo, so in Africa. Described as a tarantula-like spider with a leg span of 3 to 6 feet. Zane, 3 to 6 feet. Can you even imagine?
No.
Also, this thing is said to have purple markings on their abdomen, and they are said to make burrows like around trees and kind of booby-trap the area around with their webs, similar to trapdoor spider behavior. The natives of the area say they lay white peanut-shaped eggs, and baby spiders are pale yellow with purple markings, and they get darker as they get older.
Ugh.
So give you an idea of where these things are reported to live in this red circle here. That's basically the Congo, the jungle there, which who knows what's hiding up in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Congo is full of all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Now, the first prominent outside account of these creatures comes from 1938, when an English couple in what was then the Belgian Congo said that while they were driving, a large spider scampered across the road. This is a missionary, R.K. Lloyd, and his wife. They were jaunting down the road in their vehicle, as one did back then. You jaunted in your car. And they first thought they saw like a cat or a monkey scamper across their path. But they soon realized that it was really a spider with about a 3-foot leg span. Creepy for sure. Ugh. So another
so fast too.
Yeah, they are. Imagine like scale, spiders are quick, especially these kind of tarantula type of things.
Yeah, they're very.
And then
fast.
You scale it up. How fast is that thing gonna? I mean, you're gonna outrun that? A 3-foot?
No.
Good thing you're in a car, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I can't only imagine if I was driving across the street and I saw a giant spider in the street. Would you try to run it over or just like be in awe of its awesome presence? I don't know.
I think I would. If there's enough space, I'd probably park and just be completely befuddled by what I'm seeing.
So maybe befuddled's a good way to describe encounters with these things. So another account is from a cryptozoologist named William J. Gibbons, who, while hunting for a cryptid called Mokele Mbembe, is a really cool cryptid, the dinosaur supposedly living in the Congo, and one of the most fun to say, Mokele Mbembe. But while he was looking for that dinosaur cryptid, he asked some pygmies in the area if they had heard of this giant spider. When he returned to Canada, he told the story about it.
And pygmies, like they're local tribes, and they're like smaller, smaller people, but there's nothing like cryptozoological about them, right?
They're real. Yeah, they're
real. They're just like smaller
people,
local tribes.
Yeah, there's a couple tribes of pygmies, I guess, in the Congo, and then I think there's some in somewhere in Southeast Asia somewhere. I can't remember because I didn't do research on the pygmies, but there's like a couple, tribes that are like really short in stature. But let's hear from the horse's mouth, I guess, sort of say. I think Zane, you had a recording of this guy talking about the spider, perhaps. Let's see.
I think he had the correct pronunciation too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm incorrect. Yeah, but
yeah.
Let's see. This is William J. Gibbons' account. Let's hear it.
On this third expedition to Equatorial Africa, I took the opportunity to inquire if the pygmies knew of such a giant spider, and indeed they did. They speak of the Chaba Fufi, which is a giant or great spider. They describe a spider that is generally brown in color with a purple mark on the abdomen. They grow to quite an enormous size with a leg span of at least 5 feet. The giant arachnids weave together a layer made of leaves similar in shape to a traditional pygmy hut and spin a circular web said to be very strong between 2 trees with a strand stretched across a game trail. These giant ground-dwelling spiders prey on the diminutive forest antelope, birds, and other small game, and are said to be extremely dangerous, not to mention highly venomous. The spiders are said to lay white, peanut-sized eggs in a cluster, and the pygmies give them a wide berth when encountered, but have killed them in the past. The giant spiders were once very common, but are now a rare sight.
Okay, Zane, that's interesting. We got his actual account there talking about it.
Yeah.
What do you think about this particular spider in the Congo here? So we had the 2 sightings, I guess, or 2 accounts. The one from the missionary couple with it running across the road, and then this guy who talked to some pygmies in the area and said that they've seen him. Do you think?
What stands out to me is how these supposed spiders will make their dwellings look similar to the local tribal men and women, and that's interesting. Is that just like a adaptation tactic to somehow bring in the prey or to attract pygmies? I don't know, but that really.
I think that was just a coincidence. It just kind of looked like the shelters that they built
Using the similar materials around the jungle floor, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what it is, and just because it builds its web in a certain way, so when things stick to it, it just kind of looks like these huts. I didn't kind of take that as it like was mimicking those people's huts and stuff like that, but the behavior sounds a lot like normal spider, what they would do. I don't know if you've ever seen trapdoor spiders. But I've seen them out here in the woods and stuff, and they're pretty big too. Like when you look at them, because I mean they're about like the tip of your thumb size, but for a spider they're kind of like big. I was like, man, that thing's kind of weird looking. But they're very like ambush type of predators. So
Right.
I mean that would make sense in the jungle, like just kind of set up shop. Everything's especially around game trails. And you figure spiders. Those Joro spiders that we get here, they build their webs across trails, hiking trails all the time.
Right.
Oh, they freak me out. I hate those things when I go out in the summertime trying to hike, and it's just like, oh, look, there's a giant spider an inch over your head. Oh, bless you. You're allergic to spiders.
Yeah.
Luckily, because I guess we aren't, or I guess those spiders, their webs are built just high enough where it's out of your reach, but close enough to freak you out. So,
Right.
But they're not aggressive. They don't drop
when you do walk into one, because you just don't know if it somehow got on you, and you're going to get a sting any instance. So that's the worst.
Yeah.
You go into ninja fighting mode.
Yeah. So that's I don't know these accounts of this spider particularly. This particular guy, William J. Gibbons, prominent cryptozoologist, I guess, maybe be a little bit dubious in some of his claims. He's been on Coast to Coast, that show that kind of delves into these types of topics.
I get his accent right. I could have researched where he's from instead of he's from Texas or something.
Close enough. It's fine.
I just like that idea of giving him a Texas manly accent.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be if you're going trouncing through the jungles.
Yeah.
The only thing with this spider, though, the what was it? Jabba Fofi.
That's how it also is funny saying that, because my daughter, she calls our poodle, whose name is Murphy, Foofy. So I definitely knew how to say that pronunciation.
A poodle-sized spider.
Yes.
So anyway, so I can't find the original sources for these accounts. I can't see. I don't know where the missionaries report came from. You just find a bunch of copy and pasted of this account on the internet. So it's kind of hard for me to verify. I like to get down to the original source on things. So I couldn't find that one on this one. So I don't know. Maybe we'll put this on a question mark column. But let's go to a different part of the world, a different jungle perhaps, that has a different sighting of things. So in Papua New Guinea, in 1942, an Australian soldier at the Kokoda Trail. He saw a giant spider, and it's reported what he saw. Well, first let's see what the uh, Kokoda Trail is. Well, it was a single foot trail that runs about 60 miles and was the location of a World War II battle between the Japanese and Allied forces. This is going to be a picture here of Papua New Guinea, very isolated place on the planet as well, very mountainous, lots of jungle. So if there's a giant spider living in Papua New Guinea, I could believe it. I mean, they have a lot of places people haven't discovered. In 1942, you can imagine what's crawling out there that people haven't seen yet. So anyways, this is where the sighting happened, allegedly, on this little trail here between these two sections of Papua New Guinea. So rough terrain, pretty isolated. People die here trying to walk this area today. People go out there because it's so hard of a place to walk. They die. Most recently, I guess they die from hyponatremia, low sodium in the blood, not enough in the blood. They sweat it all out and they die. And so make sure you stay hydrated and get your electrolytes.
Bring your electrolyte powders.
Especially when you're hiking through these mountainous terrains in Papua New Guinea, because it's hard to get to you whenever you're isolated out there.
I'm not a professional hiker, but that seems like a major fail on their part. Like those don't take up much room in your pack. But it is also very hot.
Yeah, I mean, I think people underestimate the places they're going, because this is like a famous, I guess, over in that region of the world. It's like a famous trail there, but it's still kind of hard to get to. And people are like, well, it's famous. People walk it. So, soldiers did it in World War II. I'll do it now. And they just don't prepare for it. Anyways, so this Australian soldier was reported to have encountered a small dog-sized spider inhabiting a web that was spanning 10 to 15 feet across. And it was a bulky black-bodied spider that was hairy, similar to a tarantula. Again, though, Zane, I can't find the original source for this account. It's tantalizing tidbits, though. So I don't know. What do you think about the likelihood of it being in Papua New Guinea?
Well, I think these particular locations make sense to discover, these type of creatures, these really large creatures. And I like the time frame. I feel like there was more of a chance for these type of things to be around. Maybe not so much anymore with our population growing and industrialization and all that. I'm definitely open to the idea. I wish we can find more of these things now, but it seems like it's harder and harder.
Well, I mean, if you go to Papua New Guinea and walk around the jungles there, I'm sure you'll run into something creepy. That's the thing, too. Papua New Guinea is still very underdeveloped. So, like, a lot of these mountain valleys and jungle areas aren't really explored, just because it's so hard to get to, and there's just not a lot of buildup around there. But also, another interesting bit about Papua New Guinea is that they really have a lack of, for the size of the island it is and how isolated and jungly it is, they really have a lack of large predators there. Like, they don't have like lots of like big cats or anything like that, bears or things. So like I could see like a giant, they have like monitor lizards and stuff that get pretty big. But I could see like a giant spider kind of developing in that area to kind of fill that niche as a top predator in Papua New Guinea. So that would make sense to me, like something like that, evolving there.
Yeah.
But as you were mentioning, Zane, this was kind of back in the day, these sightings and isolated parts of the world. But maybe let's try someplace a little bit closer to home, shall we? How about Louisiana, Zane?
Of course.
Yes, another
bayou.
Louisiana, the Papua New Guinea of America. So another popular giant spider tale from the internets is this time from 1948, where a family was walking along a highway at night in Leesville, Louisiana. Here's where Leesville, Louisiana is, kind of like in the middle of the boot to the left side there.
Yeah.
See that? Okay.
Not many
kind of
foresty
around there. Yeah. I don't think it's so much swampy there. It's just like lowland forests kind of thing. Anyway, so as the family walked down the highway, they saw something scurrying near them. It was large, about the size of a wash tub, and was hairy. It quickly crossed the road and vanished into the brush. Now, I stumbled. Oh, before I get to the rest of it, I don't know. What do you think about that lone account? Leesville, Louisiana, in the 40s.
Time frame seems right. It looks like it's very much in the wilderness. Sure, why not? It's Louisiana, bayou, all sorts of crazy little creatures.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Bigfoot eats them or fights them. That'd be cool. Bigfoot versus the giant spider. That would be a cool movie.
That might be better than these new Godzilla remakes that keep coming out.
I heard Godzilla -1 was really good. I hadn't watched that one though.
I did see that. It was good. So
Okay.
I shouldn't completely bash them, but it was unique.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have to check that one out. Now, I did stumble across another tale of giant spiders from Fort Polk, Louisiana. Now, Fort Polk is only about 9 miles from Leesville and from that sighting, so pretty close. Now, this particular sighting, Zane, occurred in 2005, so let's get a little bit more modern with it, and was reported by a soldier who was stationed on Fort Polk, now called Fort Jackson, but back in the day it was called Fort Polk. Let's look a little bit about Fort Polk. This is what it looks like here. This is the training area here. Military guys, see the Army, they go here train. Very foresty looking. Lots of big trees, lots of groves here for it to hide on.
Looks very hot, like that Louisiana, just hot.
Good environment for a spider, I would imagine. So this story in 2005 is from a guy's blog. His name is Carl Schuker. He's into this cryptozoology stuff too. And now this is the only source of this particular story. So it was like his exclusive. He got somebody told him about it, but I'll report it because it was on the blog. So I'll summarize it. But basically, Carl was contacted in 2019 by a soldier who had this sighting in 2005 and again in 2007 at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Okay, so the soldier was stationed there. He was originally stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, but he had a training rotation. He had to go to Fort Polk in 2005. All right, so he wasn't living there normally. He went there for training. So he was there for several weeks doing the training. And in the early evening, the soldier was asked to escort a female soldier from their company tents to the motor pool. That's where they keep the vehicles. And to get there, they had to walk along a dirt road. And he was about 10 feet behind the female soldier when she suddenly tripped and then she began to scream. So the soldier rushed in to help, and he saw a hairy thing about 4 feet away from her, kind of near the wood line on the right side of the road. And at first, the soldier didn't have a good look at it because he wasn't wearing his glasses and it was dark because it was kind of late in the evening, and he was nearsighted. But when he got closer to where the female soldier was, because she yelled and fell, so he kind of went toward her a little bit closer so he could make out in more details what was in front of her. And now both of them, they froze and they were approximately 5 feet away from this thing. The creature had whitish gray or beige colored bristles, a rectangularly shaped head with curved corners. The head was like a rounded, like kind of square, with small bumps forming ridges along the side. It had large black eyes that were about 2 inches in diameter, and several smaller black eyes or spots on the head. So you couldn't tell if they were eyes or just spots on the head, but if it's a spider, it's probably more eyes, right? They had lots of eyes. At first, this thing, it reared up. So its head was about 3 feet off the ground. So the spider went up on its legs and had thin legs in the front and more smaller legs, supporting the body. You probably seen that.
It was like in attack mode,
it was like, hey, don't F with me type of thing, So it seems it behaved this way because while the soldier was running up toward the female soldier, he was like inadvertently like kicking rocks and dirt up. It was like shuffling over there, so like it hit the spider thing. So it was acting like, spiders do when you kind of like, I don't know if you ever messed with a little spider on the ground or something. You kind of like move it, stuff near it.
No, I'm
Or
not
like,
your father, so no.
I didn't say pick it up and throw it at people, but like you ever like try to move like a wolf spider or something,
I
and they
probably
like,
have.
yeah,
Yeah.
they rear up. They kind of do this
Yeah.
gesture like, hey, stop messing with me type of
Mhm.
thing. Don't throw spiders at me. I'm a spider. Um, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so it was doing that kind of like in more of a defensive posture. So after being startled by the rocks and dirt that the soldier kicked, the creature reacted by pulling its head and legs down and curling up into a ball, and it formed a ball about 2 feet across. So it's like, don't mess with me. But then it saw these people getting closer to it, so then it got more defensive and just kind of rolled into a little ball here, about 2 feet across. It then unrolled and stood up, displaying the leg span, which was about 5 feet across, and opening its mouth at them, its
Ugh.
fangs. So its mouth was about 2 to 3 inches wide and displayed 5-inch reddish brown fangs, I think. I couldn't tell if the fangs were reddish brown or its mouth was reddish brown, but it had bristles all over its body, kind of like a tarantula. So both of the soldiers, now they had their, M4 carbines with them, but they were loaded with blanks because it's a training exercise. They don't have live rounds. So this caused the creature to retreat into the woods, and the female soldier was screaming and trying to crawl away, but she was stuck on.
Did they shoot at it to scare it? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, they were just like, "Hey, get away from us!" Because you're firing blanks. It still makes a flash and it makes a sound, so it would scare something. So as the female soldier was trying to crawl away, she noticed she was stuck on some rope-looking thing on the ground, and the male soldier, he stepped on it too, but it was sticky, and he had to cut it off his boot with like a knife that he had on him. Neither of them were injured, but the female was left traumatized. And later they found sticky web-like strings leading to a concealed hole, but their story was dismissed and they were ridiculed by their command. And the female soldier was referred to to go to mental health treatment for trauma, while the guy was pressured to downplay the incident and not talk about it, only saying they saw like a hairy thing the size of a dog. So that was the first account there. What do you think there?
That's really interesting, especially involving our military and all that. If they're so adamant about that story, like I feel like I could tend to believe them, and pretty remote area, warm area, like it wouldn't surprise me. So
yeah, I thought it was interesting the sticky rope type of web it was laying on the ground, much like trapdoors, like the one in Africa, the giant sighting. It lays its web out like trapdoor spiders, and when something hits it, that female soldier probably did. It came out and was like, "I want to eat you." Was expecting probably something a little smaller, perhaps, and then got frightened away.
This does seem a little bigger than I would think for a larger than normal spider to be out in the area. That's the only thing that gives me pause. It doesn't seem like this seems more like a Papua New Guinea jungle type spider. I can't, but I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Well, let's hear a second encounter here. So the same soldier now had another sighting in 2007, 2 years later. So during a pre-deployment training exercise at Fort Polk, Louisiana, the soldier observed another giant spider, slightly different than the sighting in 2005, but in the same training area. And this time he had two sightings of the spider. So two sightings in 2007, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. The first sighting, the spider was larger and had thicker legs than the sighting he saw in 2005. So it had darker coloring than the one in 2005 as well. And the first sighting occurred in late afternoon when the soldier and two other soldiers were running on a dirt road near Alligator Lake Loop, which is an area on this training base. After one soldier suffered from heat exhaustion, the group stopped and to help her. The main guy that's having these sightings went to go get a medic, and when he came back, they were all standing by a truck. And then they went to go back to what they were doing, and one of the soldiers was complaining about stepping on something sticky. So then a bunch of leaves started rustling on the embankment near where the truck was. and leaves started moving. And they went in to investigate. They saw a giant hairy spider's head pop up from the leaves. It had a large, shiny black eyes, 3 to 4 inches around, and a tarantula-like appearance with dark brown and striped camouflage. The head was larger than a foot long. The spider dropped back into the leaves, disappearing quickly. And they were asked, and when they asked the others, no one else had saw it. So it was just him and the other guy. The guy who stepped on the sticky stuff had lost his shoe on whatever it was so sticky it made his shoe stick to it, and his foot came out of it. But they all just got in the truck and went back because I guess they were kind of like, oh, this is kind of weird over here. We're just going to leave. And he lost it, so he didn't know where his shoe was exactly. The guy apparently went back later to look for his shoe, but he couldn't find it. Later that day, the soldier and the platoon sergeant returned to that spot where they had the sighting, discussing the earlier incident. They heard some rustling and thuds behind them, and when they turned around, they were shocked to find the missing shoe from the other soldier that had lost it. It was like wet and chewed on and had like large holes in it. And it was lying in the middle of the road. And they examined it, and they heard rustling and a hissing noise from the leaves, prompting them to flee in fear. Senior leadership soon ordered them to keep quiet about the incident, cautioning everyone to stay in groups for safety. Despite the eerie events, the soldiers were pressured not to discuss what had happened. Now, okay, so that's the first sighting in 2007. Let me say the second sighting, then we can discuss these real quick. So then a few days later, the soldier witnessed the giant spider again. I guess he thinks it was the same one. While he was out, and they have like fake buildings out there for training. So they had like a fake wooden house. And he was doing whatever he was training for out there and at the wooden house. And after spotting an old buddy, like one of his friends he knew from somewhere else in the service, he went outside to go talk to this guy. And when he was talking to him, he noticed a spider walking across the roof of that building that he was just in, about 12 feet away from him. And the creature was like huge. He said it was about 6 foot leg span, and with a torso that was about 1 foot thick and 2 feet long. He could see 2 claws on the back of the spider's feet, dark brown with light stripes, legs, 2 inches. The legs were 2 inches thick. When the soldier threw a rock at it, the spider scurried away into the woods. The old buddy he had, because they were both seeing it, was visibly shaken and scared, and he was referred to mental health after the incident. And the soldier confirmed the sighting to his captain. However, senior leadership dismissed the experience, threatening career repercussions if anyone spoke about it. All right, so that's the second sighting. What do you think there, or both of those?
I mean, these soldiers are getting really good visuals and getting really specific details. So it's very interesting and freaky. I mean, this thing, if it's the same thing, it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I was in the military, so a lot of these bases, where they have training areas, they got good expanses of places for things to live. It's not like it's like you go outside to your local park and it's just like you're there in civilization.
Got huge tracts of land.
Yeah, huge tracts of land, and I could see things being forced into living in these tracts of land, because everything else is getting kind of demolished around it. So these places are kind of good hiding spots. They're not bothered much because people don't really go there outside the soldiers that go there occasionally for training. And, they're kind of staying probably mostly to certain areas. So I could see maybe something living out there that, is just hiding out, and all of a sudden it kind of crosses paths with these guys. The part about it, like, the shoe getting stuck, maybe the spider took the shoe, I guess, because they thought it was something stuck in its web, and it spat it out later when it figured out it was just a shoe. It was nothing to eat. Kind of weird. I don't know the hissing thing.
I don't know about that first thing, because I don't feel like spiders usually like really chew on, not movable things. Like, I just feel like spiders usually don't know it's not a fly or something. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess if it had your scent on it, maybe it smelled it and say, "Oh, this smells like something like
Mm.
obviously it's something it just can't move because it's been stuck struggling in my web. So it's
Okay.
like I'm gonna bite it, because that's how they inject it and then they melt
Check
it
it
and then
out.
they just feed themselves with the goo, I guess. So I could see it's something doing that, I guess. I
Oh,
mean, that's how crabs eat and other things, it's just kind of like, but I mean, those are big spiders. And that's, I mean, 5, 6 foot across spiders out there. And although I can see the military threatening you not to talk about it for career repercussion, I mean, they do that with UFOs, or they used to more so. What if these are known creatures on this space and only the higher ups know about it, but they don't want it getting out? So they're like, don't talk about it. It doesn't exist. Shut up, or else you're not going to make your next rank. What
mhm.
are you going to do? You're going to be like, okay, I'll go back to Tennessee now. So I don't know. There you have it, Zane. Those are my giant spider stories. Um, I'm not so sure though, because it's hard to determine without finding original sources outside that blog post. With the soldiers. I mean, it seems tangible. It's kind of secondhand. It'd be great if I could get some firsthand accounts of people or other sightings of these things. But who knows? I do know a soldier who used to be stationed at Fort Polk, and I reached out to them. I asked if they had heard about any giant spider sightings from the air, because you figure, hey, maybe you hear about these things locally, is kind of a thing, but they never heard of any type of giant sighting or
Hmm.
spider sightings from the area. So again, maybe it's just rare. It's like wherever you live. If a bear walks out, I mean, we have bear in this area, but I haven't seen one, but I
Right.
know they're around,
Right.
So maybe if they're rarer than that and they'd like to stay underground, I mean, how often are you going to see them,
Right. Yeah, what's interesting about your research into this is like it didn't surprise me that there could be these large spiders in very remote jungles and remote areas of the world, but the fact that it is really close um, in the United States and the Southeast where we live, that's pretty surprising to me. So, I mean, then again, it seems like a good climate, but
Yeah.
it's interesting that you have, it seems like almost close to 5 to 10 witnesses or something like that, seeing some crazy big ass spiders in Louisiana.
Well, let's maybe get into some theories then, Zane. So perhaps these giant spiders aren't spiders at all. There are some large animals that look like spiders that we know exist today, like this guy here, the
Oh,
giant
The,
coconut
co-
crab.
the coconut crab, yeah,
Yeah, I mean that thing's huge and freaky looking. Looks like a spider. What if this is just a giant land crabs? And these things get pretty massive. Why not one that lives in the jungle somewhere that's gotten huge?
yeah,
I
that's possible. That
Yeah.
that that's crazy looking too. Like when I
Mhm.
first heard about those crabs, I was like, "Good God!" And I would never be one of these people to hold one. No, thank you.
No, I think I'd hold one. I'd hold one of these, and I bet they taste pretty good. But
There's
okay,
probably good meat on them. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, a giant land crab. Perhaps that's a good theory for these remote sightings of jungle spiders. Maybe they're jungle crabs. But maybe it's a surviving pocket of prehistoric spiders. We know things used to live, or back millions of years ago, got much larger.
Hmm.
Some of these things had leg spans of 20 inches, these spiders that we know of. Or I suppose some closely related, sea scorpions, they're kind of related to spiders. They got like man-sized back in like the Jurassic period or whenever they lived. But the Japanese spider crab lives today, and those things, I think those are the largest living crabs. They have a leg span of 12 feet. Look at that thing, Zane, 12 feet.
See, that looks like a daddy long leg.
It does. My dad would throw that at me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that lives in the ocean, obviously now. But I mean, who's to say one didn't evolve and lives in the jungles? I mean, 12 foot, man. I mean, clearly something that's spider-like can get to that size.
Mhm.
So a 5 foot leg span on something, I don't know. It doesn't seem that far-fetched to me if you think about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm open to it. And you do hear stories all the time about people discovering new species, everywhere. So it's usually not like a crazy story like this, like finding something like that. But I would not surprise me if these type of creatures do exist in these remote areas.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to what you just mentioned, Zane, there are a lot of undiscovered giant things out there.
Mm.
And here's some proof I have of recent discoveries of things that are large that people just, they didn't know they were out there until recently. So here's something discovered in a Walmart parking lot, a Jurassic era insect known as a giant lacewing. And the last one was seen in 1950s, but then in 2012, some guy, he was like a doctoral student in entomology, they study bugs at the University of Arkansas. He just happened across this thing while he was in like a Walmart parking lot. He's like, "Oh, this bug looks cool," and then he like grabbed it, and then he took it and just kind of held on to it. And then people were like, "Hey, that's a giant lacewing that hasn't been seen since the 50s." And he's like, "Oh, cool." And so he rediscovered it. Now this thing, not giant like those
parking
giant,
lot, of course.
yeah, Walmart parking lot. I mean, that's where all the biggies go, I guess. I don't know.
All the strange creatures gravitate towards.
Yeah. So this thing isn't as big as those giant spiders. This one is like 2 inches long, which isn't dog sized, but for a lacewing, that's huge because normal lacewing species are like under an inch long. So this thing is massive for that species. But again, a giant thing just hanging out there in a Walmart parking lot. People didn't even know it was there.
Wow.
But how about a 6-legged stick bug, Zane? Oh, where are my pictures?
Oh no.
Where'd they go? What the hell, man? No. Hold on. Let me pause and put them in real quick.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't forget it, Zane. It was there all along. Check it out. So how about this giant 6-legged stick bug that was rediscovered after 80 years? So this was, see this little rock here?
Mm-hmm.
This is like a little outcrop. This is off the coast of Australia, East Coast. This is where this bug was rediscovered. Look at the size of this thing.
No, thank you.
This thing gets about 8 inches long. So disgusting. This is called the Lord Howe Island walking stick. And the original island, Lord Howe Island, not that little pointy rock I just showed you, but that's where these things were rediscovered because it's kind of like it was off the coast of that. But I guess, anyways, the original population of these giant stick bugs on Lord Howe Island were like all eaten by rats. And then some guys were hiking up on like in the early 2000s, just like hiking up that craggy rock looking thing. And they're like, "Hey, there's this giant stick bug on here." And they found a couple. So then they were able to bring them back eventually, and they've like repopulated the species from them. Like I think there's like over several thousand of them now, but still not, they're still endangered, but it's better than being extinct, which they thought they were.
Right.
So
can we talk about this guy who's holding these stick bugs?
Yeah.
Like, the guy who, of course, looks adoringly at these type of bugs would have a unibrow. So maybe
it's a spider between his eyes, Zane.
Maybe I don't know, but maybe it's just mud. But maybe
it is just mud. Here, maybe while I load this video real quick, you talk about these giant insects, and what do you think, like the likelihood, since we found those, what's the likelihood of us finding giant spiders?
I think it's very likely compared to many other creatures, because there's so many more insects and arachnids and all those related type of creatures. I think there's more of a chance of them and rare, maybe larger ones appearing. So I'm very open to the idea. I kind of, with all the news going on these days, we can use news like that. So I want a giant creature to appear, and it'd be a really cool discovery.
Yeah, maybe 2025 is the year of the giant spiders. That's what we need. But maybe I'll just leave you with this image then, to kind of like if people are doubtful of giant spiders. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, back in the day they could get so big because there's more oxygen." Blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe that's why they think the bugs were so big during the Jurassic dinosaur areas or whatever. I was like, well, maybe they evolved and they were able to get larger to cope with the environment nowadays, because you're in the jungle. There's still lots of oxygen for them to have.
Yeah.
So maybe, but for all those doubters, let me just leave this image with you first, and it's a giant spider eating a possum.
Oh.
So dinner plate sized tarantula. And this is like the first time they ever saw a spider doing this thing. And they're like, oh my God, it's eating a possum. Like, thing is huge.
I wonder how long he would be able to like not feed for after that kill,
Yeah, probably a year.
Because they eat the juices, and that's a lot of juice. Wow. What a way to go.
So this spider is about the size, his body was the size of a baseball, and the possum was the size of a softball. So not a huge possum, but that's a huge spider. So just crawling. Look how strong it is. Does it carry that? Like, oh my God. It's like Spider-Man, the proportional strength of a spider. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That'd be disgusting.
Well, I guess for that opossum, like it was probably a very quick death, so not as terrifying. It was just probably very quick, and then his insides are going to be turned into a digestible fluid.
Yes, digestible fluid. Tasty.
Yeah. Wow.
So speaking of digestible juices, Zane, let's help people digest their juices with some drawing of this episode.
Digestible little nugget drawings.
Yeah. All right. So I think we know what we're drawing today. So just pick out something from this story and draw it. All right.
Got it.
All right. Hold on. Ready?
Will they draw? We wonder. Will it be a house, a cat, or thunder? Oh no, no, the pictures suck, oh dear. But we cheer them on, my friends, let's hear. Josh is sketching something round. Zane's lines are all over town. Crayons flying, colors burst, but their art is the worst.
Oh god.
Jeez.
How tiny is your little drawing this time?
I'm about the size of a large spider.
Oh, okay.
All right, I guess I'll go first here. All right. So I was trying to draw
Oh, that's pretty good.
a spider, and then that head down there, that was going to be me. So I was going to have my dad throwing a giant spider at me, but I didn't have enough time to get it all.
Still kind of a terrifying drawing. It looks like he just bit off the head.
Yeah, well, it ate my body already. All right, let's see what do you got here, Zane?
All right, excuse me, my allergies to spiders are coming out. All right.
Okay.
So
Okay, is it farting? What is
no, I knew you would say that. I'm just saying he's coming at the little human fast.
Okay.
Really-
All right. So it's attacking the human. Very good.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be you or me?
Just random
Just
person.
a generic person. One of our viewers here, I guess. So lucky viewers, you get to be in one of our drawings. I don't know which one you are. There you go. All right. Well, Zane, that's it for this episode, I guess, of giant spiders. Any closing thoughts for the people?
Well, if you hear any little squeaky noises right now, that's not spider noises about to attack me. It's just my little baby girl getting changed at the moment. But
I don't hear anything.
I liked this episode was fun. We actually, with our oldest daughter, we've been watching a lot of nature documentaries, and some bugs and spiders are in them, and she's really enjoying them. So it's fun to do this episode.
Oh, awesome. Well, hopefully she'll give us a like and comment and share, just like you guys need to do. Please give us a like, share, comment, and tell your friends if you like spiders. Share it. If they don't like spiders, share it, because I'm sure it'll freak them out. But still, very interesting stories. And let us know where you stand on giant spiders. Are they possible, or is it just people making it up? I don't know. I'm on the fence. I could go either way.
I'm open to it. That'd be cool if we hear about some more in the near future.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's all for this time. I guess scurry on out of here now.
Yep. Bye.
In the dark of night, the tales they weave, Josh and Zane with stories to believe. Giant spiders creeping in the bayou, shadows move as whispers ensue. Creeping in the jungles never seen by light, Josh's dad with tricks tied as a fright sight. Spiders from the dark hidden in the mist, fearful tales that you can't resist. In old swamps where secrets rot and brew, eyes watching what you never knew. Legs as thick as branches of the oak, fangs that glisten, words they spoke. Creeping in the jungles never seen by light, Josh's dad with tricks tied as a fright sight. Spiders from the dark hidden in the mist, fearful tales that you can't resist. From forest green to swamps so deep, tales of webs that nightmares keep. Jungles echo with a silent scream. Were they real or just a dream? Dad would laugh, toss spiders with no shame, silent hunters in this eerie game. Josh and Zane, they'd shiver at the tale of a creeping horror without fail.